Produced by Victoire. Victoire gives a special thanks to the EWF, Empire Wrestling Federation, and Mr. Jesse Hernandez, as well as SoCal Wrestling TV. Find the app on Roku. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Stylin' with Rico and myself, Amir. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have a special guest with us. You see him at the bottom of your screen. This is the Star Maker, Mr. Kenny Bolin. Nice round of applause there, Rico. Welcome, Kenny. Before we start the show today, we'll do a couple of announcements as we usually do, Rico. First and foremost, what would look good to you and I?
Well, what will look good is if you lay the smack down on that subscribe button, hit the like, and share it with your friends.
Absolutely. We encourage you to share with your friends and family. We want to be worldwide, ladies and gentlemen, and we need your help to do that. A few other announcements. Rico will be in Suffolk, New York. Coming across your screen right now, you'll see the official flyer. He'll be signing autographs, meeting fans at the convention here, March 15th. So mark that down in your calendar. If you are in Suffolk, New York, make sure you go and see and meet Rico Costantino in person. Rico, you looking forward to it?
Yes, I am. I love New York.
Yep, it's wonderful. You were there actually last year, weren't you? You were another
Yes,
signing.
I was. Yeah, another signing, and I was with Joe Hendry.
That's right. TNA superstar.
Yeah. And it was wonderful. Joe's a nice fella. Nice guy. He's got a little bit of style, but he can use a little tweaking here and there. I think I can help him. Joe, reach out to me and I'll give you the styling points you need.
And speaking of the Upper East Coast there, ladies and gentlemen, we are reminded of our co-stars here at the Masters of Wrestling, and you'll see right now coming across your screen our public speaking engagements announcement. The entire team here, that is Rico Costantino, that is Paul Roma, that is Mario Mancini, that is McCallion, and myself, the Master Amir. We are available for public speaking engagements. If you're interested, use the email address in the description of this video. Likewise, if you're interested in purchasing one of our original t-shirts that you see at the bottom of the screen, use the email address, get in contact, and we will make sure that we get those out to you with whatever you decide to order. But now the announcements are underway. And Rico's been talking to me about Mr. Kenny Bolin for some time. It's an absolute pleasure to finally meet you, sir. Stellar accomplishments throughout your career. I want to bring everybody up to speed. Kenny, if you would, tell us a little bit about your background and your experiences in OVW, Ohio Valley Wrestling.
Well, we will build to what got me to OVW. Basically, I had a lifelong friendship with Jim Cornette, going back to probably 75 when we were friends at the Louisville Gardens, maybe even as early as 74. Okay. And then eventually he got a car. Eventually I got a car, and we'd visit each other every weekend. And our dream was to eventually be involved in the pro wrestling business. Well, he eventually got in, I think, 1980, 81. And he called me on a payphone. I didn't even have a real phone at that time. Didn't have a landline. So I'd call him on the payphone. And he told me that Jerry Jarrett had called him backstage and agreed to hire him to be a manager. He said, I just want to let you know, give me about a year to lay the groundwork, and I'm going to get my feet wet as a manager, and then I'm going to get you in, and you're going to be the next Jerry Lawler. I'll be the next Sam Bass, and I'm going to manage you, and we're going to take over pro wrestling. Well, that was in 1981, give or take. Yeah. 1987 rolls around. I'm still not even being thought of being, and I didn't want to be pushy. I just figured one day somebody would offer me a job, and it hadn't happened. Yeah. So 1987 comes. I've moved to Nashville, Tennessee by now, and just got my son on my birthday, March the 16th, which I heard Rico's appearance is coming up the day before my birthday. He's going to be in New York, so I won't forget his appearance. Mm-hmm. And but I'm in service merchandise, returning a surround sound receiver, and it's promoter. A legendary promoter in all through the South, especially through Tennessee, Memphis, and Nashville especially. I see Nick Goulas standing in line. So I've never met Nick Goulas before. I'd been friends with Jerry Jarrett and all those, but never had met Nick Goulas. Mm-hmm. So I'm rude enough to walk 10 people back and introduce myself to Nick Goulas and tell him who I am and that I'm dear friends with Jim Cornette and Jerry Lawler. And, oh, my God, did you know I'm starting the wrestling business right back here again in Nashville? And I said, no, I didn't know that. So he says, well, how would you like to be a part of my show? He said, I'll tell you what, young man. He said, you got a good look there. You obviously smart to the wrestling business there. You're friends with Jim Cornette and Jerry the King Lawler. I'll make you the next Jerry Lawler. I said, sir, you just met me, and we already have a Jerry Lawler. I said, but what I would like to do is maybe be involved in television with maybe management, announcing, ring announcing, something like that. Maybe be a manager like Jim does, only just a different style. I'd like to be the Jerry Lawler of managers, not the Jerry Lawler of wrestling. Well, we can do that. He says, come on down to the TV studio. We're going to be down there, and I'm going to put you in charge of interviews. I'm going, holy shit. Man, taking a lot of confidence in me just to know that I'm friends with Jerry Lawler and Jim Cornette. Yeah. So I got my feet wet there, and then eventually ended up working for a promotion that I didn't care for at all. And then Danny Davis hires me from this promotion to come and work full-time for Ohio Valley Wrestling. And then Jimmy found out that I was there. I was at OVW probably 2 years before Jimmy got there. And then Jimmy shows up, and then the deal was that if Jimmy goes to OVW, we're going to become the developmental for the WWE. And that happened. I'll remember it well. It happened in August of 1999. And then the first person that I ever signed to be a part of that show was Bull Buchanan. And then not long after that, we get Rico Costantino, we get Mark Henry, we get now I'm going blank on who all we got back then. Eventually we get Sean O'Hare. Eventually we end up with Carlito, Shad Gaspard, who tragically drowned trying to save his child. And then we feud with the guys like Brock Lesnar, Shelton Benjamin, Dave Batista, who was Leviathan back then. So we had an unbelievable stable of talent back then. The first one that I ever managed to get called up was Bull Buchanan, and Rico wasn't too darn far behind. And then John Cena, not too far behind that. I think his official full-time call-up date was when he had to wrestle me on TV in September of 2003. So I was affiliated with sending 54 men to the WWE. Not all of them had the success of a Rico, a Bull Buchanan, a John Cena, various others. Or The Miz. My God, I had The Miz. I had Lance Cade, who tragically passed away of a drug overdose. Rico knows that story. And but no, one thing I was proud of the main event the other day, it come down to you got CM Punk, you've got John Cena, and you've got Seth Rollins, who technically had OVW connections because he was at OVW for his last television taping with ROH before he got called up. So he's kind of an adopted brother of OVW as well. And then just so many great talents. And Randy Orton, my God. All the feuds we had with Randy Orton. And Rico's got a hell of an old promo that he cut on Randy.
Can you remember
that tell today?
Oh, okay. You can't tell it.
The promo can't be told today, but it was just so much history. And so many great talent. And here's the thing, they're all still up there making big money, and all of them still look pretty damn good. You know, Randy Orton looks better now than he did when he got called up.
Rico
looks great. And so
it's tremendous. You've been involved with all these talents. How long were you in OVW officially for? I mean, from
17 years officially. I was there 17 years. One of the few companies that didn't fire me after 4 or 5 years. And normally when I wanted to get fired, I could do it. And if I wanted to go somewhere else because I wanted to draw the unemployment. If you quit, you didn't get unemployment. I always want to take some time off between jobs. But no, there's no unemployment in the pro wrestling business. I guess if you're with the big companies, there is. But no, 17 years at OVW, and I just walked in one day and told them I just didn't want to do it no more. And I gave them that night was the notice. I just told Danny Davis I was embarrassed to be a part of the product. I didn't like the direction we were going. The WWE contract had long been over by a couple of years. We were no longer affiliated with TNA, and that, in my opinion, didn't go real well. And I was just embarrassed to be a part of the product. And my name is on it. I was, as Danny Davis said, Kenny, you're the face of the company. You've been here since day one. You can't go on vacation. You're the face of the company. So I ended up taking one anyway when Paul Heyman came in. But for 6 weeks. And so well, he'll be gone soon. And he was. So I took my 6 weeks off. And believe it or not, me and Paul got along pretty good. his idea of running OVW and my idea of it were just two different worlds. And Paul was going to get his way. He gets a paycheck from WWE, and I was getting supplemental pay.
Yeah.
So I just told Danny, I said, I'm going home. And when he's done, you call me and let me know. And when he did, I went back. And yeah.
I must ask. So when you said, sorry, Enrico, I'll go over to you.
Well, I just, while we're on this subject of all that, Kenny, if you would, tell the story of when I tore my quad, not when I tore it.
Oh, okay.
But tell that story of what you said to Cornette. What you said to Jim Cornette.
This is how sometimes I get my way, even because Jimmy's a little pig-headed too. We're both rather set in our ways, and Jimmy probably 10 times worse than me, and I'm bad enough. But Rico tore his quad, and Rico and I had been dear friends since the day he got there. He called me dad from day one. What I didn't know, see, when Rico got there, I thought he was 25. The thing is, apparently a lot of people in WWE thought Rico was about 25. Well, he wasn't. I think you were what, 38?
38 and a half.
38 and a half years old. So he's calling me bad and going, all right, yeah, I'm pushing 40. All right, what the hell? You know, I had him when I was 15. What the hell? And then we find out he's a year and a half younger than me, if that. And then was it Dory Funk that found out that you were quite older?
He asked me point blank. He asked me, how old are you? I said 38 and a half.
And he thought you were about 25.
Yeah.
He had no idea.
He thought I lied on the application.
And that was Rico's gladiator look. You know, he had the long curly hair and everything. And he looked exactly like he did off the show.
Yeah.
And we refer to him as the gladiator. He came in as the biggest babyface in the company.
Yeah.
So as the biggest babyface in the company, when he tore his quad, how long were you out, Rico? What was the period of
6
time?
months.
Wow.
6 months.
They told me I would never wrestle again.
Yeah. And time's going on. Rico and I hanging out a lot. He's over at my house probably 3-4 days a week. And we come up with this idea, man. So what would it be like is that if you didn't hear from anybody, the only person that ever got in touch with you during your rehab time, because OVW just forgot about you. Your name was never mentioned. No one gave a shit how you were doing. But good old Kenny Bolin was right there to just make sure you were okay and you had everything you need, and took you out for free meals 3-4 days a week, nursed you back to health. What if you joined Bolin services? Well, we dropped this idea on Jimmy, and Jimmy lost his mind. You got to be out of your I almost looked up. You got to be out of your freaking minds. You want me to take the biggest baby face in the company? He's about to make his big comeback, and you want me to turn him heel? And he said, no, it's ridiculous. I'm not going to do it. He said, stupid idea. Both of you nuts. I said, no, I don't think so. I said, I think it'll work. So it's still several weeks before we're supposed to bring him back. We keep pitching the idea. Finally, he can, because Rico really wants to do it. He does not want to go back babyface. He wants to come back heel. He wants to be in BS. And so Jimmy finally called. All right, here's the deal. You got 6 weeks to get this stuff over. 6 weeks. And if it don't work, and it ain't, then he comes back babyface. But you got 6 weeks to prove me right. And I said, oh, fair enough. If we can't get this done, it's hard for me to do a PG show, just so y'all know.
Yeah.
I'm struggling over here. But we do the first show, and then I get a call that night. He said, he's yours. He knew night one that it was going to work, because the story was told that no one gave a damn. And then he starts calling me dad. And for those that know us in real life, Rico is a very religious person. Mm-hmm. I am not. So the great thing is that Rico would pray in the corner, and I'm looking over like, you dumb son. And I would go over and pray with him, knowing I'm just picking up just to cater to Rico so he'll stay in BS. Oh, God bless you, Dad. Thank you, son. Thank you. And so it just worked. And so he went from the biggest babyface in the company to the biggest heel in the company.
Yeah.
And we told him it would work. We had and a lot of what pro wrestling is do you think it'll work? Do you believe in yourself? Because Jerry Jarrett wanted me to be the Joker of his new company. He wanted, because I knew if I was going to manage, I'd have to be in a wheelchair. And he imagined me as the Joker in a wheelchair. And I thought about it. And then he calls me back. He says, Kenny, are you ready to do it? I said, Jerry, I don't know if it's ever been done to you before or not. I said, but no. He says, you won't do it? I said, no. And for one reason, I don't want to disappoint you. I said, I don't think I can do that character. I'm so used to doing what I'm doing. I don't feel that. And I said, I don't want to be a disappointment to you. He says, well, I'm going to tell you, you're doing the right thing. He says, because you've already talked yourself out of it. And you're right. I think it would work, and I think you'd be great at it, but you have to think it. And now that you don't, you're right. It probably won't work, but you would have been great if you'd just let yourself believe. So now he's making me feel bad.
Right.
Because I turned him down on it. And, but you have to believe. And Rico and I were convinced this stuff was going to work.
Yeah.
And boy, did it ever. For Jimmy to give up and not wait the 6 weeks and to call me, all right, he's yours. You got him.
Yeah.
You know,
that's a big
all the magic in it. And I guess when you watch him just be this over the top baby face, or as Ricky Morton would say, this white meat baby face, they did not see the heel in him. But this is something I'm waiting to see as the topic we're getting ready to talk about. I know this individual we're going to talk about can be a damn good heel. I know he can because we saw him do it.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. And how long? Yeah. And the funny thing is when I was a baby face, I fought against Bolin Services because Rob Conway was there. And
you were one of our biggest rivals.
Yeah. And we had a coal miners glove match at the Louisville Gardens. And it all boiled down to this. And we're in the Louisville Gardens. It's packed. And now it's Rob
I'm managing Conway against you.
Yeah. And Conway was the heavyweight OVW champion, and I was coming in as the American Gladiator, Rico. Yeah. And like I said, Kenny said I was a babyface, and I had the people behind me because wholesome, all this, greet the kids, and stuff like that. So we're in this coal miners match, and it's back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then we do a double knockdown.
For those that don't know, a coal miners match is they're popular in the mid South. Is a coal miners glove on a 10-foot pole on top of the ring.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's 10 feet above the top rope is where it's at.
Yeah. So
the only way you can win the match is to climb the pole, get that glove, and use it on your opponent.
Yep.
Yeah. I think there was one notably, wasn't there, Kenny? It was Jake the Snake in WCW, I think, against Sting in one of the Halloween Havocs. I believe that was a coal miners glove match. If anybody,
they didn't have as many of them in the WWE as Memphis would have them every 90 days.
Yeah. So Rob and I do a double knock. We're down, and here's Kenny.
Somebody's got to do something.
Somebody got to do something. And we're going, and Kenny's got to try to climb the pole.
Yeah. That's
right.
To
get the glove.
I'm 350 to 375, maybe sneaking up on 400 by then.
So we're going through the match, and they tell Kenny to take a practice bump. And Kenny, tell him what you said.
Well, do you remember who told me to take the practice bump?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was Jim Ross.
Yeah,
wants me to go out and practice this. I said, and this is the confidence I had. Yeah. No, I'm not going to take a practice bump. And here's the reason. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but if I'm going to break my effing leg, I'm going to do it during the show.
Yeah,
not in practice. I hear a broken leg and can't even do the bit. Yeah. I'm willing to break my leg for you guys tonight, but I'm going to do it live.
Yeah,
I've never done this before. But we're going to make it work. I'm going to get up there, and Rico's going to come do what he's going to do. But if I'm going to break my leg, and the chances are pretty good I will, I'm going to do it during the show. And they looked at me and said, okay, all right. Yeah, I get it. So
that is classic Kenny Bolin. I tell you, folks, that is classic
Jim
Kenny.
Ross, no.
Yes, he did. So we do the match, and we're both, Rob and I are laid out, and Kenny climbs on the apron. Yeah. He climbs to the top rope.
Hang on. I'm looking around. I'm panicking. Rob's down. We got to beat Rico. We got to beat this damn gladiator. We got to do it. Yeah. Somebody's got to do something. So and Cornette coached this up a little bit. You're looking around. Is there anybody to help? There's nobody to help. Yeah. It's you, Kenny. You got to do it. Take your coat off. You're looking around. It's me. And then make a big production out of climbing up to that top rope. And they weren't even sure I could get on the top rope because I wouldn't rehearse it. Yeah. Get up the top. And Rico, other than making it to the top to get the glove, I didn't do too bad.
No, you did great. You got up there.
And I don't know if Rico remembers this or not, but as Rico kips up from being laid out flat and Rob is still down, to milk it even further, and I don't remember anybody telling Rico to do this. He just stands there and looks at me like this ridiculous fat bastard.
And he's bouncing. He's bouncing on the
trying
third
to get
rope,
to that glove.
trying to get to the glove, and he grabs the pole and he slides down to the top rope, and he bounces up.
I can't get that extra 6 inches I need. So Rico's tapping his feet like, okay, all right. I could sit here all day, but this clown is going to go.
And Kenny, go ahead. Kenny, I get him to turn around, and I grab him crotch, throat, and I actually throw him. He lands perfectly.
Dead center in the ring.
Wow.
Dead center.
Do you remember Cornette's commentary?
Yeah, I think the Earth just changes axis.
The urge has been knocked off its gravitational pull.
Yeah.
and it may have.
Yeah.
It may have.
And then
it started
I climb
snowing
up
at night, and it was in the middle of July.
Yeah.
we messed things
So
up.
to make Kenny look even sillier,
Yeah.
I get on the third rope, I bounce, and I'm already there at the top.
Oh yeah.
Pull the glove off. One bounce, and then Conway gets up, boom, and then I'm 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
But we had
the new
great
OVW
times.
champion, I believe, right?
Yeah, that was my first time.
And you got away, Kenny, completely unscathed, no injury,
Unscathed. No, never felt a thing.
Excellent.
Never.
He took
I was
the
the
bump
most shocked guy in the building.
Yeah. Wow.
Never done it. Never rehearsed it. Totally prepared to break my leg, snap a neck, something.
Yeah.
Something bad's going to happen, but I'm going to do it in front because we had a hell of a crowd that night.
Yeah, it was huge.
We had a few thousand in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And for OVW, that was a hell of a crowd. I mean, this wasn't Undertaker versus Kane. I mean, we were kind of the main event that night, wasn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. How many shows did you run per week when you were doing OVW at that point?
Oh God, Monday nights,
Tuesday,
Monday
St.
nights
Teresa.
were normally off, but Tuesday night was St. Teresa. Wednesday night had a tendency to be the Gardens once we started running it every week, or did we switch to Tuesdays?
No. It was when I was there. Teresa's on Tuesday. We practiced, and then we did a show on the weekend. And
there's always
TV,
weekend shows, the county shows,
shows, and we taped. Did we tape Wednesday or do we tape Thursdays?
Wednesday nights was TV taping, and then when DCW came about, I think you had just left. DCW's run Thursdays.
Yeah. So that's what we did. But
I was the heel announcer on Wednesday nights, but for DCW, I was the commissioner and babyface announcer.
Yeah.
And the crowd would boo me on Wednesdays and cheer me on Thursdays.
Yeah. Do you know Kenny and I were the only heels that went to an appearance? Remember that?
Which one?
The baseball.
Oh, at the Riverbats game.
Yeah. Were those Special Olympics kids?
Yeah. No, that's the LaGrange one.
Right.
And you were babyface, I was heel.
Right. We
went in a limo.
Yeah.
In a limo.
Limo.
Terry Burnett provided a limo.
Right.
And you were working with the Special Olympic kids. You were trying to be, and I'm up there very proud of someone asked me today if I was a good baseball player in high. I said, man, I got a tryout with the Cincinnati Reds. Yeah, I was pretty good.
Okay.
But I bought a brand new glove and I dropped a fly ball in center, and they wouldn't even hardly look at me after that because I had a brand new glove like an idiot. If I took my old glove, I might be hitting cleanup behind Chris Sabo or somebody in 1990. But I wasn't.
Wow,
that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah. So here I am.
I was pretty good. Event. So I want to show how good of a baseball player I am to these Special Olympians.
Yeah.
Yes, just like I did. So I go up to the plate. Now these kids hit the ball, grounders and this and that, and I get to the plate because I'm on the face team. Kenny's on the heel team.
Yeah.
And this kid pitches and I hit it. And I don't think the ball has even landed yet today.
Yeah.
But I whack it and I run around the bases. And then Kenny pulls me aside. What do you say to me, Kenny?
Yeah, I said, these are Special Olympians, not Olympic athletes. And they can't see the ball coming when you hit it 120 miles an hour to third.
Yeah. It's not that competitive, Rico.
because that's what I wanted to do, but Rico did it.
Yeah.
Because we wanted to show he could hit the ball.
Oh my God!
No, we couldn't do that. So
we had to tone it
no,
down
he about
a
took
little
a shortstop's head off. Yeah, he says one of them ain't landed yet. Well, one of them's kid hadn't come back up out of his shoulder blades yet. And that was in probably 1999 or probably 2000.
About 2000. Yeah, about 2000. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And there was a wing.
Time
out. Rico
slides
into second. He could have walked a second.
Yeah. What a riot, man. I tell you
Go ahead.
One of the things that I notice about you, Kenny, is your ability to communicate. You've got a great voice, and you mentioned announcing there. Was that something that you got to do a lot of during your tenure in the business?
I started out at Ohio Valley Wrestling as an announcer. I started out with Nick Goulas as the announcer. As a matter of fact, that video is on YouTube. If you want to see my first ever appearance, just type in Kenny Bolin, Nick Goulas, and you'll see me from November of '87. And I thought I was so bad. I've gone back and looked at that, and I wanted to do that take again. That was one take on my first ever wrestling appearance to interview George and Nick Goulas. Okay. I want to do another take because they're giving me countdowns. I've never seen a countdown before and all this. I don't know what the hell's going on. Yeah. And so we get to the end of it, and I said, okay, let's do that again. No, that was perfect, Mr. Bolin. That was great. That was a great interview. And no, we're going to leave that as I said, sir, I can do so much better. Yeah, maybe you can, but we can't. We're going to leave that the way it is. They were happy with their performance. Yeah. And they said, no, maybe you can, but we can't. We're going to keep that the way it is. I said, all right. So, my nickname was One Take Bolin after that. So.
Well, that's wonderful. Yeah. That saves them money. One of the other things you mentioned about storytelling. So we know a lot of scripting goes into wrestling these days. I've
heard rumors.
Yes, we've heard rumors of that. So how was it in OVWs for some of the newer, younger audiences? How was the planning for a story?
Well, I was the one, and Rico will be the first to tell you this. They could not give a script to there. And I told this story on my show the other day that I once got in the ring and did a 17-minute interview that was scheduled for 12. And at about the 14, 15-minute mark, this ink pen comes flying past my head.
Yeah, guess who threw it?
Tell who threw it. So the ink pen comes flying, and everybody on TV sees it. This ink pen comes whizzing by my head, and the next thing you know, Cornette's charging the ring, and I got no idea why. What's his problem? And well, I'm way over of a 12-minute interview. Yeah. He gets to the ring. Well, I guess I got to leave. He's coming down here. What the hell? So I powder out of the ring. Me and the heels go. I don't remember if Rico I had guys in the ring with me, but I can't remember if Rico was one of them.
No, I wasn't part of that one.
It might have been pre-Rico.
Yeah.
So we run to the back. Don't know what's going on. Jimmy comes back here. God damn, Bolin, what the hell? I said, what do you mean? What the hell? Oh, that was a great interview. I said, I thought it was pretty good. Yeah, you went 17 minutes. Oh, I was scheduled for 12, wasn't I? I said, well, you always told me if you go long and it's good, don't worry about it. Oh, yeah, it was long and good. You didn't mention one thing I told you to say. Said, well, I know. I was trying to remember what you wanted me to say. I said, you had this big, long script, and I forgot it all. I said, I figured it'd come to me if I talk long enough. All right. So after that, we decided to go to bullet points for Kenny. So we'll give Kenny 5 bullet points and let him do that.
Yeah.
The script went away after the ink pen came at my head on a 17-minute interview that he said you didn't say one thing I wrote down. Well, that'll teach you. That's your fault. You wrote too much.
Yeah, he did. Kenny could wing it just out of winging it. And then once I got with Kenny, my promo skills got a lot better because we would just wing it. And I got to say this, because Kenny had such a relationship with Jim, I didn't get in trouble as much as everybody else did, because Jim would come by and say, okay, this, that, not right. And he'd tell everybody on what cues, this and that. And Jim talked so fast. I couldn't figure it out. Thank God I was a heel by then. And I'd go to Kenny, what'd he say? Yeah. And Kenny goes, he wants you to do this, that, and this.
Yeah, Kenny understand all that Southern gibberish, so I could translate it for him.
And he translated. And in my years in OVW, I only got in trouble once because I didn't poke Robert Briscoe in the eye when Disciples of Sin and Bolin Services went at it. And I took a little long, but one time out of all those times when I could have messed up many times, Kenny saved me because he would translate what Jimmy wanted, and Kenny could put it in terms that I understood, being such a young wrestler. You know, and that saved
back
me
then.
a lot.
I didn't even realize that. I didn't even realize that's what I was doing until much, much later.
Yeah, but Kenny saved my hiney many times.
Well, on top of that, when I'm Jim's best friend, I felt we could get by with murder.
Well, we basically
Jimmy wants us to do this. Well, we're going to do this, and he'll get over it. And
yes.
Okay, make sure he knows it was your idea. Well, he will.
Yeah.
And before Jimmy got to OVW, see, I used his name to get by with murder on OVW because Danny and Rip were running the shows, and I'm brand new to them. They don't care. I worked with Goulas and knew Lawler and friends because they don't care. They've been running this show for a few years. And Kenny, you're just damn lucky to be here. You're just glad we liked what we saw when we recruited you. Yeah. So I'd sit backstage with him. I just walked back there. No one else had the guts to walk backstage, sit in the office with Danny and Rip, but I did. I thought that's where I belonged.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a 40-year veteran of this, even though I've been in the business just a few years. And I'd walk back there and sit down, and they'd come up with these ideas. I said, well, I was talking with Jimmy, and Jimmy thinks we should do this. I might talk with Jimmy, but it wasn't Jimmy's idea. It was mine. But I would tell him it was Jimmy's, and because it was Jimmy's idea, it was always the greatest idea they'd ever heard. So Jimmy gets there and he said, I saw this stuff y'all was doing on TV. He said, Bolin told you it was mine. He said, I didn't tell Bolin any of that. He was just telling you it was me to get his stuff on television. Well, it sounded good. He said, well, it probably was, but just letting you know, Bolin worked y'all for about 2.5 years where I got here because I didn't tell him any of that stuff.
Well, I got to say real quick that I was good with Kenny, and the heel thing and me calling him dad, praying in the corner was great. But then who'd we get? Because I was the role model. Who came into our stable?
After that, we get attached with this troglodyte, this dead weight, this paperweight.
Yeah, this
the
disgusting
prototype.
The prototype.
I've heard of him.
Yeah.
Oh.
And that's all we called him for a long. Even when building up to September of 2003, when I wrestled him in a loser leave town match. Won't bother to tell you who won the match. Okay. I don't know who you beat in the mirror, but but building up to then, I don't think we ever called him John Cena.
No,
he was always the prototype and the role model. That's what it was.
Yep.
That's who they were, the prototype and the role model.
But that's sellable though. I mean,
we would call him Rico Costantino because everybody knew him from Gladiators.
Right.
So when Cena got here, he was doing a show called Manhunt. So he was already a bit of a television star on the CW network.
Yep.
Okay.
But how many people watch the CW network even to this day? Not all that many.
Very true.
But I noticed on Manhunt that Cena was the star. He was the one that knew how to work a television camera. He knew how to work angles. You did not think he was acting. Everybody else was horrible reality stars. Cena was a star. And so we knew we had something. And eventually through this conversation, we're going to talk about the day that Vince McMahon wanted to get rid of 2 of our stars. One of them we told, and one of them we didn't because we didn't think the other guy could handle it. But so now we have John Cena aboard with us, the prototype. Rico, go ahead.
Yeah, John came in because I was the role model, and to all these Louisville, Kentuckians, Louisville,
which is how prototype pronounced it as well. He picked up your pronunciation.
Yeah. And I was trying to get my role model values over to these Kentuckianians, and when John came in, he was my prototype. And I just said, if you follow my philosophy, you could be like this, my prototype. Yeah. And be just like me. And that took off like wildfire. And with Kenny as our manager, oh my gosh, it went over quick.
And here's what was very different about all that. Rico worshiped me. Rico was my buddy. He's dad. He prays with me in the corner. We're always at dinner together. You don't see me that you don't see Kenny. Cena was never with us. He'd come over about once a month and watch pay-per-view. We never really interacted with Cena. Okay. And Cena admitted he would rather be home. He had broadband internet for the first time, and he admitted, I'd rather be home watching porn.
Okay.
I'm just going to stay home, watch porn. You all go out and eat all your free food with Kenny. Yeah. I only get one cheap meal a week, and I'll show up at Kenny's and get some free chicken or something. Yeah. But so he wasn't with us.
Okay.
And it was always me and Rico. And Cena would always take backhanded slaps at me during promos. Yeah. He would get into fat jokes. Yeah. And I'm looking around like, what the hell? Well, Kenny, you're not up in the WWE with us right now because, oh my God, you would hate it. Oh my God, the seats on the planes, they're so crowded. You wouldn't like that. You don't want to be a part of that. Oh, the food is terrible. So he was always coming up with reasons why my big fat butt just wasn't going to work out to be with him. And then finally gets down, he tells me, Kenny, there's a reason you're not up there with us. Look at Sean O'Hare. Look at Rico. Look at me. We're in shape. And you're not. You look like 10 pounds of crap in a 5-pound bag. And he was right.
So, now I presume, he's working at this point, correct? This is a work.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is how
this is on television stuff.
Okay.
But he would still take, even as a heel, would still take stabs at me. He might have even been able to be a bigger heel if he had done the worshiping thing that Rico did, because that's what made everybody so mad at Rico, is that he's a piece of crap. Yeah. Why are you saying these nice things about this horrible person? But Cena would acknowledge, I know he's horrible. I'm just taking advantage of him.
So to say that Cena excelled at being a heel would be an understatement. I mean, he knows how to. Yeah, he knows how to do this.
He knows how to do it. He knows how to do it.
Yeah. So he gets to WWE. Obviously, he was the doctor of thugonomics. They did go the heel route with him initially, which was very good. I enjoyed
with Bull Buchanan, by the way.
Yep, Bull Buchanan, and he did his raps in the ring. He's very talented at that. Was he doing that off the cuff in OVW?
I wrestled John Cena in a match, and I emerged victorious. I had a rap battle with John Cena, and I did not. I didn't do so good in the rap battle.
Yeah, he's definitely good.
Rico, did you ever rap with John Cena?
Not unless I rapped him on the side of the head.
Yeah, I don't know anybody that out-rapped John Cena. That's you remember back in the old building, they used to have a promo day.
Yep.
And they would give you a scenario, and somebody would say, okay, a steel cage, a flying squirrel, and a toilet seat. Got a promo.
Yep.
Cena could do it.
Oh.
And he would
without even thinking about it.
Not even thinking about it. And Bob used to do that to me on my show. He would say, well, Kenny can cut a promo on anything. And once he put me on the spot, he says, Kenny, cut a promo on an ink pen. And Bob says, I cut the most vicious promo on this poor ink pen and put over the number 2 lead pencil to a level that the number 2 pencil never dreamed it would be. But to put you on the spot, and now I got to cut a promo on a pencil and an ink pen. And that's but Cena was a master at it. And I will say, I think I'm pretty good. Cena was better than me at off-the-cuff promos about anything.
Yep.
I'm sure you could stump me. You could not stump him. He was amazing.
Now, Rico, you mentioned that to me as well. You'd said that Cena was very interested in just punching and kicking, very basic moves.
Punch, kick, stomp. That's all he wanted to do when he was in OVW.
And 25 years later?
Well, but,
it hasn't advanced much.
No, but like I said,
But guess what? He still looks great, and he's still working.
And he's still not hurt.
And I've never heard not hurt.
Yeah, John Cena never got hurt. I tore a quad. Bubba Dudley tore my hamstring 3 different times. So he approached it.
Say to me, Kenny, how many bumps you think you took in your career? So, I'd take one every 2 or 3 years, whether I had to or not.
Yeah,
yeah. But Cena was thinking long term. I was trying to expose and show everything I had due to my age. To be noticed and get called up to be put on the roster. Cena had a lot more time than I had. So,
well, he's coming in at what? Early 20s, and you're coming in at 38.
38 and a half, and I debut on TV at 40. Right. So I got and I still took some crazy bumps, did crazy moves, I don't know how many times the Dudley Boys put me through tables, chairs. One time I got through a table, Survivor Series 2002, the steel bar went right through my forearm during Survivor Series.
Yeah.
And you just got to take it. But but Cena, I think, played it smart. He waited until he hit it, and then he came off with moves here and there. But he made it very clear: kick, stomp, punch. You do all the fancy stuff.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, because I'm the one that had something to prove in a short amount of time.
Right.
Yeah.
He definitely wanted the longevity factor, and he probably already had his sights sets on Hollywood, like you mentioned, Kenny. He was already working in TV.
He's already doing
I didn't know that. So he had already had that. You mentioned also staying in shape. So I think this is the prime opportunity to take a little pause and hear a word from our brand new sponsor and partner for styling. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back in about 55 seconds. Champions. They're not born in the gym. It starts from the inside and it works its way out. Do you feel it more difficult to obtain muscle? Are you tired or perhaps depressed? Then there's a solution. Our brand new partner and sponsor, Care Aesthetics of La Quinta, are here to help you get restored to optimal health. Just use the contact information in this video and schedule your free consultation. Be sure to mention the name of the podcast, whether that be Power and Glory, Styling, Masterclass, or Hey Roma, when doing so. We wish you all the best in your road to optimized health. And now, back to the show. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. So if you're interested in hormone therapy, if you're interested in some cosmetic procedures, then do not hesitate to get in contact with Care Aesthetics of La Quinta. And also mention, very, very important, that you are watching Styling. Very, very important. But now we'll go back into the show, gentlemen.
Amir,
well, no, we're not going back into the show yet, because I need to point out the obvious here. Well, it's probably not the obvious, is why I got pointed out. They haven't done any work on me yet. This is just all natural, guys. This is just me. Imagine what I could look like with a couple of sessions with the new sponsor there, huh?
Yeah. Very, very good.
It's hard to improve on perfection, but I'm willing to give it a shot.
Yeah. Give it a try. Give it a try, Dad.
Why not?
Just give it a try.
I mean,
well, you're more than welcome.
Looking 35. My birthday coming up, by the way, March 16th. 65 of them.
Yeah. Well,
happy birthday,
Danny Davis. Danny Davis once predicted I'd never see the age of 39 because I was fat and he thought I was going to die soon.
Well, I will tell you that Kenny Bolin was quite the basketball player.
Okay. Yeah, that was
every single person in the WWE that was stupid enough to play me.
Yep.
But guess who was smart enough not to play me? And I don't know if Rico remembers this guy or not, because he's Canadian.
Yeah.
Jericho.
I'm in the back. I've beaten Mark Henry. I've beaten Lance Cade. Lance Cade was a pretty good ball player. Mark Henry's a pretty good ball player. Yeah. You name them, I beat them in battle. Christian Cage, I beat everybody. Jericho comes up. And I'm over 400 pounds by then, and I'm still beating everybody in the WWEs, including Linda Miles, who beat Mark Henry, from what I've been told.
Okay. Yeah,
Jericho walks up. I said, "Hey, Chris, you want to play a little one-on-one before the show starts?" He says, "Nah, son." He said, "If you think you're going to add me to the list of people you've beaten back here, no, you ain't playing me." He wouldn't play me, so that was the greatest honor ever. That Jericho wouldn't even play me.
Wow.
But I was an excellent 3-point shooter, even in my extremely fat days. And if you hit 5 shots, you got 10 points. If I hit 5, I got 15. So
yep. Yeah. Even though he was large, he was in charge.
The round mound of sound,
that's what I called him.
The round mound of sound.
The round mound of sound, or the blue M&M.
Through you, Charles Barkley, I could have beat him too without a play.
You know what? As I'm listening, as I'm getting to meet audience, I'm getting to meet Kenny for the first time. Kenny, you're such a character, man. I mean, is there still any chance for you to go to NWA, AEW, TNA? Would you still like to be in the business on TV?
I'm still in the business on TV because I do podcasting 2 and 3 nights a week, and that is my way to connect with the fans and to entertain and to have a good time.
Yeah.
My knees and my back are so bad, not through taking bumps, just through being fat. When you get up near 600 pounds, it takes a toll on your knees and your back. I got had weight loss surgery, got down from 589 to, I think the lowest weight I saw was 350. And then I got to where I was hanging around the 370 mark. You kind of stabilize it where you're at. And then I got sepsis, got very sick, and then got back up to nearly 440. So I've had to get on a protein diet and had to readjust a lot of things because I just started gaining weight out of the blue after sepsis. Would seem to be for no damn reason. I mean, because my diet was probably better than it's ever been, but yet I was still gaining weight. So we really had to take it a few more steps further. I just found a great buy on protein shakes at a place called JB's, where instead of $38 for 15, I can get 30 grams of protein for $13.49. So I'm going over to load up on that on Saturday because protein is my buddy and salt and sugar is my enemy.
Yeah.
So even after weight loss surgery, even I've probably got a third of the stomach I used to have. I now have to have a bypass surgery because my goal is to get from probably the 390s I'm hanging at now to get down to the 290s. And because I functioned real good at 277, I could still run like the wind. Not at 65, I'm not going to, and not with bad knees and a bad back. But I think my managerial days are over. I think my traveling days are over because Kenny, you could commentate and you'd be an entertaining commentator. I agree. I think I would. I think I could add a lot to somebody's show.
Yeah.
But the traveling, getting in and out of the airports, in and out of the hotels. If I didn't have somebody there to help me, and if I didn't have a wheelchair access or something, it would be so hard.
Yeah.
So as much as I'd love to do it, and it's not like WWE or anybody come knocking the doors down offering me that job, but even if they did, it would be a difficult thing for me to do. Just to what the travel would do to me, and what is required upon you to do that. So.
Yeah.
Well, we'll definitely, viewers, we encourage you to go and watch Kenny's show. We'll put a link, Kenny, in the description of this video to your show. It's definitely a great experience. I mean, obviously getting to meet you here, wonderful character. So I'm sure it's a wonderful show, and viewers, we encourage you to check it out.
Well, I've heard a lot of good things about you as well. And also that, you know, some technical things that maybe me and my co-host don't know, even though he is an IT guy. Rico has bragged upon your technical knowledge, and I'm hoping that you and I can have some time, maybe even a little bit after this show or down the road, for you to give us some technical advice on what to do with our shows. We finally passed the 10,000 subscriber mark, and I tried a new advertising campaign to where I told everybody I'm now a 501c3. I'm now a nonprofit charitable organization. I've been raising money for the Philippines for 14 years now, and it really got serious when COVID hit. And it's called Bolin Services Incorporated. We're still waiting to get our tax exemption number. All the fees have been paid. All the paperwork's been filled out. We're waiting maybe another week or two. We should actually have the tax exemption number. And what I told everybody to do was put our new corporate logo in your cover picture on Facebook. And when people ask you what that's about, tell them what we do and why we do it. And we went from 4,800 subscribers to 10,100 in about 4 or 5 weeks. But I got 12,000 followers on Facebook, and 5,000 of them followed the show. So, you know,
I will say I've appeared on Kenny's show numerous times to help raise money for the people in the Philippines,
and have donated yourself.
Oh, I didn't want to say that, but
I did.
Yes, I know you did. But
as a matter of fact, you promised to sell your house and to give me all that money plus 20%. And I thought that was very generous of you.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for that memo.
You're still waiting for proof you said that's what you're waiting on.
But I will say,
and
Kenny,
you mentioned that you said Amir would sell his garage and help us out a little bit as well.
Yes. Okay. But I will say, Kenny does amazing things for those people in the Philippines. Fixes their houses, gets some things they need, puts kids through school.
Yeah, doing a lot of that.
Oh my gosh! And throws birthday parties
of what it would cost to do here.
I know.
That's why every $60 I raise feeds a family of 4 for 30 days. We put kids through college through a semester for under $200. They can go a whole semester under $200, and a lot of times that includes helping them with their transportation and their food. Can't do that with kids here.
No.
So, Kenny, why do you help so many Filipinos? Well, they're human too.
Mm-hmm.
I believe in one race. That's the human race. Mm-hmm. And I don't judge people by what border they come from, what color they are. They're humans. Mm-hmm. And I can make a much larger impact with those people. Their government does nothing for them.
Nope.
And I'm hoping our government still does. I'm sure that's a lot of conversations going on right now. Yeah. A lot of cutbacks are coming in America, and I hope I'm not going to be a part of it, because I need help too from time to time. Yep. But I've always got time and effort to help these people. And that's been my passion for 14 years. So
it has. And I've been so blessed to
a part of it many times.
Help Kenny do that, because the pictures I've seen, he just gives them money, and people throw wouldn't believe
ice cream
just to have ice cream in the Philippines. Mm-hmm. So many kids.
We have fed over 3,000 kids ice cream cones. It's probably way more than that now. It was the last number I heard. Thousands of families have gotten their meals, electric, water bills, roofs fit. We're fixing roofs right now. Yep. One family just got their roof pulled out. Well, for $120, we're replacing their roof. $120.
Yeah. What about the flood? You helped them when they had that.
Well, the typhoons are what. Yeah, the typhoons are what motivated us to start doing this. And one of my places to donate is called Food for Filipinos at gmail.com. And that's one of the PayPal addresses. And PayPal helped me come up with that exact address. They said, well, this tells what you do. Mm-hmm. Do this. And because people donate to Kenny Bolin at msn.com, that's also a PayPal address. But Food for Filipinos at gmail.com tells you exactly what we do. And not only did my co-host through research realize that we donate every penny we take in to help these people, he figured out that I'd given away 30% of my own money through a little secondhand job I've got. And I didn't track it that close, but I'm glad I did it. You know, I got everything I want. I never desired to be rich. I never desired to have brand new cars. I'd like a 100-inch TV, but my 77's fine. Yeah. And, nice 77. 99 be better. 99 be better.
Yeah. King is always going to be the king.
I like big TVs.
You know what?
Big TVs, and I cannot lie.
Yeah. But you know what? I tell you what, seriously, gentlemen, I'm finding out about this for the first time, like you viewers aren't familiar with Kenny. Kenny, I almost feel now that you guys have brought that up, it's almost like this whole other angle we were going to discuss doesn't even compare to this. Because, Rico and I, and our viewers know, we like to contribute back. We do it in a different way. We often talk about various other topics to try and help and encourage people that are watching our broadcast, because there is more to life, dare I say it, than pro wrestling. And
strangely enough.
Yes, crazy enough, there is. Yeah. And it's important that we do that, because a lot of people have that disconnect. And, especially like you were saying, Kenny, sometimes people forget about these other people in other countries that, sometimes we think we're hard done by here. But, there are some other countries out there where people are.
There's a look around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So sometimes we need to keep our mouth shut, because even on our work, it's like I told somebody not long ago, I was having a horrible week. Just everything that could go wrong was going wrong, financially, physically, mentally. I mean, you name it. And my son's driving me to a restaurant. We're going to get a bite to eat. And I'm finally snapping out of it a little bit. It had been a rough week. Mm-hmm. And he says, Dad, I don't know how you're doing it. He says, I don't know how you're not borderline suicide right now. I said, well, son, everything we're going through right now ain't that big a deal. Mm-hmm. I said, and I want you to look at the people that we help in the Philippines. Mm-hmm. My absolute worst day ever would be their best. Mm-hmm. I said, so what am I going to get upset about? Mm-hmm. They would love to have the week I had, and we're bitching about how bad it was. Yeah. They would kill to have that week that I had. Because they wouldn't be living on dirt floors. They wouldn't have big holes in their roofs. They wouldn't be wondering, can I have something with my rice that Kenny and his show was kind enough to get us? Mm-hmm. They write me, Kenny, can we get dish? Could we get eggs? They want rice and eggs and some soup. Mm-hmm. What do I'm getting teary-eyed talking about.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Because it's your passion.
We have so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like I said, man, when you think about your worst day, it would have been their best. And that's how I get over stuff.
Yeah. 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 Kenny, man, God bless you, Kenny.
I can tell it touches your heart, and that impresses me about you. because I can tell that it touches your heart.
Yeah.
And that you care about other people as well. And I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
He does.
Rico will tell you I evaluate good people and pretty quickly. I can tell if you're I'm going to say it, not supposed to. Believe me if you have to. I know a shitbag when I see one. I know good people when I see them.
Yeah.
And I'm very impressed with you. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Kenny. Likewise, like I said, it just kind of stopped me on that point. I wanted to kind of hang there for a while because it is important. It's more important than what we're discussing. So you started this. When did you officially start doing that, helping the people in the Philippines? What year?
Well, I'm glad you brought it up because strangely enough, myself, Rico, and Cena were on TV in the Philippines, and we did not know it. Yep. This was 2012 when I found out, and I started getting all these Facebook messengers requesting autographed pictures, not so much of me, not so much of Rico, but of John Cena. They wanted autographs of John Cena, and most of them were Filipino girls. And I'm right back. I said, well, yeah, I managed them. I'm shocked you all know that. I said, but what has motivated this? So this young girl named Lena writes me, and she lives with her grandmother, and we got to be very close friends. And my desire was to go to the Philippines one day. This is going back to 2012. And she says, well, I watch you on TV every week. I said, well, we've known each other a while, Lena. I said, I didn't know you were watching me on TV every week. And I said, I've never sent you any DVDs or anything. How are you watching me? She says, well, you're on Saturday. She says, call me Saturday and we'll video chat and I'll show you what I'm seeing. So I video chat her at her grandmother's house. They live a little better than most Filipinos. They've got a stove. They've got an upstairs. They got air conditioning. They got a real 19-inch television. Most Filipinos don't have this stuff. So I'm video chatting with them, and there we are. There's me, Rico, and Cena on their television, knowing I've never sent them anything. I said, what is that on? She said, that's SmackDown. And she called me Daddy Bear. And she says, you're the only person that ever acted like you cared about as much about me as my father did. So she nicknamed me Daddy Bear. And so I'm seeing me and Rico and Cena. I said, honey, there's just one problem with that. I said, this is 2012. We did that interview in 2000. It's in the old building, Rico. She's watching a 12-year-old clip of us on SmackDown television in the Philippines. Yeah. I said, just out of curiosity, I said, you're watching SmackDown. It was about 8 o'clock at night. I said, what comes on at 9 o'clock? She says, The Walking Dead, Daddy Bear. Great lead in.
Yeah. That's a great lead.
Yeah. Us, and then The Walking Dead.
Yeah. So, wow.
But she said we were on over there for about 5 years. So I'm telling Cornette this. Cornette, there's no way in hell we're on TV in the Philippines. We don't have a deal with them. If they're doing it illegal. I said, who cares? You know, they want to see me and Cena and Rico. So they're putting us on their television. They're finding some boring segment on SmackDown to put in me, Rico, and Cena. I was flattered by that. Yeah. And she said we were on for about 5 years. So we got fairly famous over there. Okay. And so my first girlfriend from the Philippines, her name was Lena, and we're still friends to this day, going back to 2012. Yeah, because we were on TV in the Philippines, and that's what started me. Because I used to help her a little bit. I knew they needed a little help, and then her grandmother died. She moved in with her sister, and then the next picture I get is her washing her laundry in a river, and then they live in this little house with no electricity, and there's holes in the roofs, and so she went from the penthouse, which is what she thought she was in, to the outhouse. And then it turned out almost everybody she knew lived like that. She was one of the lucky ones that lived in a vacation resort in Batangas. So now we help people in Batangas, Laguna, Iloilo City, San Joaquin, Calbayog City, which is one of the primary cities we help in, Cebu, Manila, Novatos, which I'm probably pronouncing wrong because they always tell me I am. And it just stretches all over. And I've been accused of having a girlfriend. They say I have 7,500 girlfriends, one on every island. I said, and the great thing is none of them know about each other. We keep a big secret. So, and that's something we tease about on the show and everything. And most of them on there call me daddy. Okay. Not one of them calls me grandpa. And I got kids from the age of 6 to 44 that call me daddy. I was all right now. Those of you in your 30s can back off his daddy crap.
Yeah.
We'll let the little ones do it. Yeah, I'll give you the teen. I'll give you early 20s. So far, they're smart. They can work because not one of them is ever, how you doing, Grandpa? Because then they get cut off.
Right. But I tell you, but what Rico, Kenny, what a remarkable story. You're talking about, that feeling that you get when you go out and you perform in arena in pro wrestling. You can't touch that with what you're doing, Kenny. Not a chance, not even
And
close.
people ask me why I do it, and
Yeah.
because so many of them tell us they want to pay us back. A girl named Vanessa, we've been helping probably that entire 13, 14 years. Every time we help her, Kenny, I'm going to get rich. I'm going to win the lottery, and I'm going to pay you back. No, you're not. You're not going to win the lottery, and you're not going to pay us back because we don't want it back. We have it to give you, and you don't have it to pay it back. So that's why we do it. And my son even asked me, even my son, who's a sweet, giving young man himself, Dad, why do you do it? I said, because you don't know the feeling it gives me to know that family that was not going to eat tonight is now going to eat. That family that was about to have their electric and water cut off. And we saved about 3 people yesterday, 3 families. Okay. They wrote me, Kenny, they send me their bill, cutoff date. They don't mess around down there. If it says due date March 1st, cutoff date March 4th, that's what the bill says. I can send you samples of it.
Yeah.
I get them all the time from
March
Kenny.
5th, you ain't got no electric. You know what the bill is? $20, $30.
Wow.
They cut them off over $20, $30, but that's a lot of money there.
Yeah.
And Kenny sends me receipts all the time.
I
have them downloaded and what he sends over. So what he's saying is true because
I still have trolls. I still have trolls that watch my podcast, even recently.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a 501c3, even though I would say something that I could not prove, which would be ridiculous. Once we have our number, you'll be able to, I think you can log into the government now and find Bolin Services Incorporated. Okay. We're listed with the IRS, but still my 7 or 8 trolls want to tell you that, no, he doesn't have one. He's pocketing all the money. Yeah. Okay, well, I'm going through a lot of trouble manufacturing a lot of receipts, and a lot of people are coming on my show telling us what we do for them. I'm a genius beyond Al Capone if this is what I'm doing, because I'm a smart mofo if I have figured out a way to scam the wrestling fans into making them think I'm helping Filipinos, and then getting a boatload of Filipinos to come on my show and say, "Yep, that's what he's doing. He's helping us."
You always get people that anytime I find someone is doing something of value, doing something positive, you always get a crap on it. Yeah, always get crap on it. Always. But one of the things I think is really good about this is, and I've been inspired, Kenny, because I've spoken, Rico, we've had guests on here, and I've had other guests, and what always is remarkable to me is the people that have not used, that's a poor choice of words. Allowed what the wrestling industry has given them to be able to go on and help others. I think that's the most important thing. For anybody who's trying to get into the business, I'm not going to say everybody does it for their own reasons, but to see someone who's utilized that, like you said, notoriety, to use that notoriety.
If it weren't for the wrestling business, I would be able to do a tiny, tiny, tiny fraction of what I do. And I have a tiny, tiny fraction of the fame that a lot of them do. Right. And when I see the big names out there that refuse to do anything for anybody but line their own pockets, and they claim they're men of God, they claim that they were, Rico will tell you, I'm as agnostic as you get. And, but I do believe, to a degree, I believe in karma. Sometimes things happen make me not believe in karma, but how you can not help someone in need is something that ain't in me. And trust me, I was raised to be a racist. I was raised to be a homophobe. I was raised to self-indulge if you were fortunate, because my family was pretty poor as well. But I know so many people in the wrestling business that have made so much money, not only during wrestling, but after wrestling. And Rico and I don't make a boatload of money podcasting. Not yet. We do good enough to help some people. But there are people that make thousands and thousands of dollars in podcasting. Yeah. And what I see is that they have Amazon accounts with wish lists so the fans can get them record albums, things they want. And they're already making thousands of dollars. I don't make thousands of dollars a week. A real good week for us, we might make $500-$600 in donations on a real good week. We've cracked 1,000 before. It's not often. But now that we have the 501c3, we got people like Anthony Scaramucci that have donated to us, and he said it would be so much easier if you had that 501c3. Well, originally it was going to cost us $7 or $8 to get that, and we didn't have the money to do that. Right. But fortunately, I met a young lady in government who used to be a dear friend of mine at Humana, She's been working for the government for 23 years, and she got through a lot of red tape for us, and we got it done for under $600. That was going to run us $7 or $8 grand, and I wasn't thrilled about having to pull $600 out of my pocket to get it done. But now people don't have an excuse. Well, if you were only a 501c3, if you were only a not for profit, we could help you. Well, that's what Anthony Scaramucci told me, and he's donated several times. Mark Cuban of the Dallas Mavericks, he's donated a few times. Well, now they have every reason to be more supportive of us, and I think Arby's is going to be more supportive because they really like what we're doing as well, and they got the money, and the meat. And the meat.
And the meats. And the meats.
We got the meat. That's their commercial.
Where's
the meat?
And I didn't mean to take up all your time putting over that stuff, because I know.
No, but it needs to be said, Kenny.
Yeah,
it needs to be said.
And we can always do a part 2.
We can. We can talk about that.
We can always do a part 2.
Yeah, I think we should actually do a part 2. And just quickly, one other subject, because you mentioned about wrestlers not helping out and other people or places of notoriety.
Yeah, I won't name names, but I got some on my list that irk me when I know how much money they make.
Yeah,
and they'll come on my show. Disco Inferno, politically, he and I are so far apart it ain't funny. Every time he comes on my show, he donates. Okay. Rico, almost every time. And Rico, politically, and I are not perfectly aligned, but he doesn't stop it from helping me help people.
No.
Anthony Scaramucci, lifelong Republican, devout Catholic. He called me the first time he did my show. He says, Kenny, I know you claim to be agnostic. He said, but there's something special about you, and me and you are going to be friends for a long time. Yep. First time he did my show, he worked for Donald Trump. He knew I was not a Trumper, and he knew I was not a Republican. And Anthony's done my show. It'll be 10 times this summer when he comes back on. I consider him one of my better friends.
Yeah,
sweetest guy I've ever known.
You can agree. You can agree to disagree. That's the thing.
You can agree to disagree.
A lot of
and Kenny knows I'm a born again Christian. And we are the best of friends.
Always have been.
Always.
Jason Sanderson is a minister, a pastor up in New Hampshire that brought us up to do that big show in the early 2000s. When he passed the offering plate around, he says, please make sure Brother Bolin doesn't get his hands anywhere near that offering.
Because there'd be a minus.
Yeah.
We're going to have a negative intake. But we're best of friends.
Yeah.
And we could not be more different religiously. Politically, he and I might line up a little bit more, because I do see him promoting gay rights, which you don't see a lot of pastors and ministers and Catholic priests do, but he does, and I respect that, because people are people, man. People are people. Gay goes back long before the 20s and 30s or the 10s. Gay goes back a long time. Transgenders, I don't understand it, but it's not my job to tell them what they can and can't do. And it's not my job to understand it. They have to be happy in their own bodies, and if they are, cool with me.
Yeah, like you said, it's differences. That's what makes, but everybody lives their own life, and I think that's the thing that we've forgotten about.
Your religion is wrong, mine is right. The least represented people on the planet Earth are the agnostics, because in our government, everybody's got some type of representation, even the transgenders. The agnostics, I dare you to run for office and claim you don't believe in God. I dare you, because they don't.
Well, if they get elected.
Now our forefathers, all those that signed the Constitution, many of those were agnostic. So I don't know when this happened, but I dare you to run for office and claim you don't believe in a God.
Well, the problem with running for office is you got to place your right hand on the Bible and swear to do an oath.
Where's the separation of church and state? In God we trust is on our money. There is no separation of church and state. It's on our money.
Yeah. Well, but before I forget, I wanted to bring this point up.
He's going holy shit. We turned him loose.
I wanted to bring this up.
Get a leash on him, Rico. Get a leash on him.
Before I forget. Okay. All right.
Kenny, come on, Dad. Pull it back. Pull it back.
It was going so good. Then we let him off his leash, and now he's running around, and we can't catch him.
I think we're going to pull it back here, ladies and gentlemen. Brian Knobs. So Brian Knobs,
yes.
I spoke with him a few months back. Found out now he's in a very bad way.
Nasty boys.
Nasty boys. This is a particular topic where I'm astounded. He has to raise a $30,000 bill. He's going to potentially lose his foot. He's in a bad way. He's lost his house. The hurricane destroyed his home. And I'm thinking to myself, he's only
Where did he live, by the way? Because I don't know. Where did he live?
I'm not sure exactly in Florida where he was because I just started talking to him, but
I
it
was
was
kind of assuming it might have been had to be one of the coastal places.
yeah,
Hurricanes are bad.
it was one of the
and in the Philippines, they get an average of 40 typhoons a year throughout the Philippines. 40.
Crazy. That's crazy.
Sometimes Florida go years without one. They get 40 a year on average.
That's insane, man.
It is insane.
That kind of. But the point I was trying to make about Brian is, and also if anyone does want to help Brian, you can go to a GoFundMe that he started. I've seen it on Facebook. All you got to do is look up Brian Knobs. But what astounded me is it's a $30,000 bill. Now I know a handful of guys that could pay that for him in a heartbeat.
Wouldn't miss it.
Yeah.
Would not miss it.
Yeah, yeah. And
I mean, when people ask me for help, if they need $10, okay, I'm not going to miss $10.
Right.
There are people out there that could hand over that 30 grand and would not know it was out of their account.
Right. Exactly.
People that you and I know in the wrestling business that have been very fortunate, that have made a boatload of money.
Yeah.
Could help Brian. And I mean, if you got differences with Brian, you might not be as in tune to help. But if Brian's done nothing
it goes beyond personal. It goes beyond personal.
And it should. And it should.
It should. Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people that have wished me dead because I try to do good things or I don't politically or religiously line up with them. It's not in me to wish anybody dead.
Right.
Cornette has wished me dead because of our differences, because I worked for Vince Russo.
Mm-hmm.
And well, Kenny, are you going to be happy when Jimmy dies? No, I'll effing cry.
Mm-hmm.
That was my best friend for 45 years. No, I'm not going to be happy.
Right.
I'm not happy about we haven't spoken 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
But it is not in me to wish another human. Someone mentioned the name Tim Ash. Rico, I'm sure you remember that name.
Yep.
What about Tim? Tim screwed you over a lot. Well, I don't wish him dead.
Mm-hmm. No, you don't wish anybody.
It's not in me. I don't have it. And that's from an agnostic. But go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna say something about Kenny Bolin. And Amir, you know this. I got very sick in 2016. I had to medically retire from the police force.
I thought we were going to lose you, man. I really did.
I almost was gone. And Kenny called me and said, I want to start a GoFundMe page. Mm-hmm. And what did I tell you?
No. You told me not to worry about it.
I am not going to go to the wrestling fans and ask them to donate. So Kenny went behind my back.
I did.
And started a GoFundMe page.
Anyway.
Saved my house. Yeah. Let me pay the bills.
I pocketed so much money off of
that. But he saved my house until my medical retirement kicked in.
Yeah.
And who jumped in to help me save you? I know you know he came to your house.
Oh, Chris Jericho.
Chris Jericho. Yeah. That coward that would not play me in basketball went to Rico's house to help save Rico. So I can't take all the credit because Jericho brought a lot of attention to Rico that he wasn't going to get.
Yeah.
And Rico didn't want Rico was basically saying goodbye to me. That's what he was doing.
Yeah.
He was saying goodbye and I wasn't going to let him do it.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's just like I said, two tremendous individuals. Thank you for helping our brother here, Rico. You know, he's a role model. He's a mentor. You know, anyway, I don't want to.
And without me, you wouldn't have him here today. There you go.
I don't want to get. Yeah.
And Jericho.
Yeah. Two wonderful things. And that's what the world should be. Like you said, helping each other. It's not about political differences or whatever beliefs. You should just help your other fellow human being. What I'm going to do, gentlemen, is I'm going to kind of accelerate through our John Cena part. We'll go back into that just to kind of touch on that. I don't think we got time to do CM Punk today, so we'll do that in part 2. But we'll
I know him pretty well too, so that'll be fun.
All right. Yeah. You're going to have to excuse me for a second, so hold the show.
Okay, I'll hold the show.
No, you keep going. I'll be right back.
All right. Okay, recap. I'll carry on. So Kenny, so John obviously was involved heavily in Make-A-Wish. Now that he's turned
the
heel,
number one provider of Make-A-Wish wishes of all celebrities there are. He is the number one guy.
Yep. But now that I've heard that he's turned heel, they've said he can't do that anymore. So
I hadn't heard that.
That's what I've heard. That's what I've heard.
So bad guys like me can't help people because I'm a career bad guy.
Yep. I
can't do Make-A-Wish. I've never been asked.
I found this strange too. When I heard this,
that's so stupid.
Yeah.
It's tough. And I'm going to tell you why it's stupid.
Mhm.
I bet you there's some actors out there that have played a lot of horrible roles
Yeah.
that participate in Make-A-Wish. And let's call a spade a spade.
Yep.
John Cena's an actor.
Yep.
And for you to tell him that he can't provide Make-A-Wish because he's a damn good actor is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you, if Morgan Freeman, who has played a bad guy before,
Mm-hmm.
Robert De Niro, who has played a bad guy before, wanted to participate in Make-A-Wish, they'd be allowed to do so.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think they should be allowed to do so.
Ridiculous.
I think it's ridiculous. They want to take it to the extreme.
Now, I hadn't heard that. That's breaking news here today for me.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. And but what do you think? I mean, obviously, for career wise, I think it's going to do him a favor to turn heel at this point in his career. Do you think it will in any way impede upon, like you said? I mean, it seems to have already done that. The fact that he can't do Make-A-Wish. I mean, I don't know.
I know, because Make-A-Wish is hurting themselves. They've elected to do that. John didn't do that to them. They did that to themselves. There's no one else out there that grants as many wishes as he does. I don't know what John personally pulls out of his pocket, but anytime he's taken time and effort to go somewhere and do these things, that's time and effort's money. And I got way more time and effort than I have money. So I'm always willing to give time and effort if it's going to help somebody. I'm always happy to do that because I always got plenty of that.
Yeah.
Might not have as much money as I'd like, but always have time and effort. And when John gives that, he can take his time and make a boatload of money doing anything. He can set up a table out on any street in any city and make $50,000 if he had a bunch of books and T-shirts with him.
Yeah,
he'd make 50 grand.
Was John?
He wouldn't need that. All he'd need is to stand there and say, "Come up here and take a picture with me for $30."
There you go. That's true. Was he always a giving type? Was he a giving type as a younger man when he was in OVW? Was he like that, inclined?
I hate to say this, but I don't recall it.
Okay.
I don't recall, but he was making $750 a week at Ohio Valley Wrestling, and I remember when he got called up, he says, "What they don't know, man," he says, I'm cool with $750 a week. He says, "I don't need any more. I'm happy with that." He says, he wanted to come back and work. So I will say he was giving to the point that he wanted to come back and work Wednesdays with us. He didn't want to lose the Loser Leave Town to me. He wanted to come back every Wednesday and do TV on his day off.
Okay.
So as far as giving time and effort, but he didn't have the money back then to do anything like that. I didn't know John as well when he became the $40 million a year actor.
Right.
Now, me and his dad have been pretty close. I know this is recorded, and me and Mr. Cena will have done 2 shows by the time that your fans see this. So certainly go to youtube.com/The Bolin Alley. You'll see both of those most recent shows with John Cena Sr. But it's sometimes amazing how in the dark John's dad is about what's going on in his life. I mean, some things he knows and some things, hey, man, I don't know. He didn't tell me.
Yeah.
John can be a very private and very secretive person sometimes.
He was with us.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We didn't know what the hell John was doing. And he didn't he'd hang out with us, but like where me and Rico, I mean, if you saw one of us, you saw the other one. We'd see Cena with us. I don't know that Cena ever went to any of the dinners with us. Maybe once or twice.
I never remember him coming or to any of the appearances.
Well, he was always on that health kick. He wasn't going to go eat all you can get at Ryan's Steakhouse or Golden Corral or the various
Steak and Shake.
But I tell you what, he did come over and get free Papa John's because Papa John's was one of my freebies. And
did you have a pay-per-view on or something?
Yes. And he came over and he knocked out about 2.5 pizzas by himself.
Wow.
Yeah.
And we went to Danny Davis's house one night and we had all you could eat Buffalo Wild Wings chicken. And Danny ordered like hundreds of buckets. Every bucket had 100 pieces of chicken in it. John sat down and ate, and I saw him do it. He ate 130 chicken wings in one night. 130.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Mark Henry was there that night, and John Cena, but that was his cheat day.
Yeah.
So on his cheat day, he could do some eating, but if he wasn't cheating, it was a very, very strict diet.
Strict diet. Yep.
I think he's very regimented. I think that's probably why it limited his social life.
Very, very much.
Did he have a girlfriend at the time, or was he just stay solo?
At OVW, every girl was his girlfriend. He has been tied to so many. I have trouble keeping up with all of them. I saw a video the other day. I didn't realize how closely he was tied to Mickey James.
Oh, I didn't realize that either.
Yeah, and apparently Mickey James. Was she with Ken Doane for a while as well, or no?
Rico. Got me.
I remember that she broke. I remember when her and Cena broke up, she started dating a jobber, and I do not recall who the jobber was, but I remember that she went from Cena to a jobber at one point, and seemed to be happy with that choice. So,
well, she's currently married to Nick Aldis, who's the
Nick Aldis. Yeah, keep it in the business.
Yep, she's married to Nick.
I don't know why Mickey's not on top. Mickey still looks amazing. She's still a good performer, and I'm shocked that she is not on WWE TV. It surprises me.
I'm shocked that Nick Aldis has not been utilized more. He's a tremendous talent, obviously from my
does a great job.
From my neck of the woods, from the UK, former Gladiator 2, Rico.
What part of the UK are you from?
I was born in Oxford, so and then I moved to a town just north of London. It's actually the town where they filmed Harry Potter.
My daughter-in-law got a scholarship to go to Oxford. Myra, she got a scholarship to go to Oxford.
Oh, okay. When was she in Oxford?
Oh God, just a few years ago. She now lives in Dublin, Ireland.
Oh yeah,
and so just a few years ago, she left here several years ago, and I think she's already graduated Oxford.
Yeah,
she graduated Bellarmine University with honors here in Louisville, just down the street from me. She goes from Bellarmine, and she said Bellarmine was more expensive that if she had to pay than Oxford. Bellarmine was $75,000 a year because it's a private university.
Yeah,
Oxford, she says, was dramatically cheaper if she'd have had to pay. But she got a scholarship and didn't have to.
That's great.
Now, how much history do you have in England?
Oh, we've got tons of history. I mean, you can go and visit the site of the Battle of Hastings, which was in 1066. You know, you've got the Tower of London still standing there in London.
Because I have a very important question for you, because my favorite group hails from England.
Okay.
One of my top 3 groups. And they hail from Bath, England. Do you know where Bath, England is?
Yes, at Bath. Yes.
Sunny Bath. Who's from Sunny Bath?
I couldn't tell you who is from Sunny Bath because I'm trying. You said 3 bands, right? 3.
I have 3 favorite bands. 2 of them are from Chicago. Chicago and Earth, Wind, and Fire hail from Chicago.
Okay.
Maurice White was from Memphis. Verdine White was from Chicago. Okay. But Sunny Bath, England was the group Tears for Fears.
Oh, yes. Tears. Okay.
Roland Orbison and Kurt Smith. And Roland Orbison that is my dream interview. I love Tears for Fears with a passion. Yeah. They have almost never done a bad song. And I remember the video I ever saw of them. They're doing kind of like it's a introduction to Tears for Fears. And so they play one of their songs called the Breakdown or something like that.
Yeah.
And then when it comes up from the breakdown, they go to interview them, and he says, I first met Kurt in Sunny Bath. And I always wanted to know where. So anytime I meet anybody from England, they're blown away that I know anything about Bath, England.
Yeah, I know.
Bath. That way. Yeah. Sunny Bath.
Yeah. Most people think of Birmingham, Newcastle, but interesting tidbit for you.
I want to go to Bath, and I want to meet Roland Orbison. That's what I want to do.
What we need to do is because just down the street from where I live is the site where they filmed Everybody Wants.
Are you in the UK now as you film, or you're in California?
No, I'm in California. So just down the street.
Kurt Smith lives in LA.
Cabazon, just down the street is where they filmed where the dinosaurs are, where they filmed Everybody Wants to Rule the World. It's still there to this day.
Oh my God, is it really? That's cool as hell. Yeah. My son's favorite song, one of his favorites of all time, Everybody Wants to Rule the World.
Yep.
And it used to be the theme song to Dennis Leary's television show that he had forever. God, I forgot what his show was called. Now I never missed an episode, but Dennis Leary, not Dennis Leary, Dennis Miller Live. His theme song was Everybody Wants to Rule the World. Kurt Smith now lives in Los Angeles, but when Tears for Fears got back together, they were communicating from Los Angeles to Bath, England, where Roland Orbison still lived.
Yeah. Great band, great songs. Like you said, they had hit after hit.
After hit. And so it's Earth, Wind, and Fire, Chicago, Casey and the Sunshine Band, Tears for Fears, and then I also was huge fans of Pat Benatar and God, Donna Summer.
Yeah, my wife likes Pat Benatar. I'll tell you who we're trying to get on the show. Gosh, gentlemen, who
Dua
was
Lipa. I
what's
just
that?
watched the 60 Minutes interview with Dua Lipa. She is amazing. I love Dua Lipa from Kosovo.
Who is the lady?
You're going there. Kenny Bolin's gonna be the smartest son of a bitch I've ever met. That
Yeah, he
sucker
is.
knows everything.
He knows everything, Rico. He's got everything in his
Oh, I
mind.
He got it
know.
all
He
covered.
managed me for years. I always was. He's a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah, yeah. He
Unless
is.
I don't.
But
Unless
I
I
tell you,
don't.
I tell you what, gentlemen, we have gone way over. So what we're gonna do?
I know. And Rico told you we were.
Yeah, we would. So what we're gonna do is, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna leave this one right here. Kenny Bolin will be back. We're gonna join. He's gonna join us
And
again.
10 pounds heavier.
We're gonna hopefully
lighter.
Yeah,
Lighter.
lighter.
Lawler's the line. So he's back and 10 pounds heavier, huh? Because that made him tougher if he was 10 pounds bigger. Hopefully, next time I come back, I'll be 20, 30, 40, 100 pounds lighter.
Yeah,
yes.
There you go. We pray for that. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Rico, you want to close us out with your statement?
Yes, I do. I believe this, and this is what I live by. And here it is: what the mind can conceive, the heart can achieve. And I'm living proof.
Yep, absolutely. What the mind can conceive, the heart can achieve. Kenny, thank you so much for taking a little bit of your time and sharing it with us today, and for sharing your knowledge and your amazing story. We will have the links in the description of the video. But until next week, everybody, take care of yourselves. This has been Styling. I'm the Master Amir. This is Rico Costantino, the stylist, and that is Kenny Bolin, the Star Maker. Until next week, everybody, take care.